Hello. Am I audible to all? Student, am I audible to all? Okay. Screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Uh, okay. Now, previous lecture, we are seeing the testing work cycle, all these things. Now, in that topic, two points are remaining. That is a principle of testing and objective of testing that we are going to see in this lecture, as well as we will see what do you mean by the functional testing and non-functional testing requirements. These are the important exam point of view. So first of all, whenever we are saying that the principle of testing, so what are the different principles of testings which is listed here? Out of that, first one is showing that the uh, testing shows the presence of the defect. So meaning of this uh, testing is that principle is that the first of all we should know the whether that a particular defect is present in the system or not. If it is present, then we need to identify that defect, and that particular software should be 100% defect free. This is our main motivation. So whenever we are performing the testings, we are always need to reduce the number of undiscovered defect which is remained in the software. For that purposes, we need to provide the prove that the that particular product is defect free. Then only it is going to useful for the users. So this point of view, we need to show the whether that particular product defect is present or not. If it is present, we need to remove that defect 100%. This is first principle. Now second principle is exhaustive testing is impossible. Why it is impossible? Because whenever we are including everything in the all combination of the input and precondition which is possible. For example, if I'm going to consider that there are 15 inputs are there, okay? There are 15 inputs are there, and five, you can say that the five possible values are there for each input. Five possible values. These are the values are there. So if I want to test these values for the particular field, so I can get the 5 raised to 15 combinations I need to perform testing on the this much single input, which is we can apply on the single field. For example, username and password. Okay, so out of that username is there. So I can give the 15 input combinations. So and five values, different values I can take consider. So 5 raised to 15 means that many combinations I can get for the testing. So for that purposes, it is very difficult for the particular user or tester to test the all these things. And because of that, what is going to happen, you in that risk is involved, and we need to decide the where risk is there, and we need to focus on the priorities where testing effort should be put. So in that case, mainly we can see the timeline of the project. Depending upon the timeline of projects, we can consider only higher priorities and risk areas like username and password. These are the most critical values which is they are going to consider in the each and every project. So exhaustive testing is impossible in terms of the whole project execution. So we have to decide the priorities and risk areas, and according to that we can perform the testing. This will be the second software testing principle. Now third software testing principle is early testing. In this early testing, as we are seen in the first lecture itself, software development life cycle. Even in previous lecture also I explained you software testing life cycle. In even difference between the software testing and software development life cycle. In that software development life cycle, as we are seen in the fourth stage is the testing cycle. So whenever particular software is going to develop simultaneously or implemented, that time the testing should be started in that time only, not after completion of the whole project implementation. Testing should not be started. So in previous lecture also I explained development as well as the testing should be go parallelly. So we can say that the testing should be done in the early stage of the development cycles, so that it is mainly focused on the defined objective, that is a early testing. Now fourth testing principle is defect clustering. Defect clustering is nothing but a small number of modules which may contain the defects which is going to discover during the pre-release of the testing, means pre-releasing of the software. So it may be showed some operational failures, like the systems. Whenever you want to deliver the any project, in that case, the one module which is connected to the integrated to the given application, it is not going to work. So for that, defect clustering should be identified. That is a fourth testing principle. Now fifth is pesticide paradise. Pesticide paradise is nothing but if you are doing the same type of testing, or we are repeating that test again and again for the same type of the application or product, it is no longer is going to work. Or same application, if you are working, it is no longer going to work. Why? Because in that we are not going to find out the any types of the bugs. So for that we have to follow the pesticide paradise. It says that it is you can say that really very important to review the test cases regularly, and new and different test cases need to be written to exercise the different parts of the software or system to give the potential finding of the defect. So that is called as a paradise, pesticide paradise. That means you need to find out every time new or write down the new or different test cases on, and that basis you can test the particular product. So that is called as a paradise, pesticide paradise. So this will be the fifth testing principle. Sixth testing principle is testing is context dependent. Context dependent is nothing but the in that testing basically we have a different kinds of the site. For example, we need to test a different way. For example, if you consider the safety of the systems, online banking systems, or online banking web portal, in that first of all we'll mainly focus on the web security or web safety. In that critical mainly these banking software is a critical software where it should be tested different way. And if you want to use the e-commerce software like online product purchasing software, that we need to test it different way, means depending upon the severity or criticality of that particular application, the software testing of the both are web related applications, but you need to test different way. Now seventh application is absence of error policy. If your system is built and it is unable and it is not going to fulfill the user's need and expectation, then finding and fixing the defect does not help. Means in the systems, if we are not able to find out the error, or that error is present in the system, it is very difficult with we need to fix that error in the defect phase. So these are the 7 principles which is we can use for the software testing. Now next one is the software testing objective. Mainly there are 6 objectives are there. Software testing 6 objectives are there. Out of that, first one is finding the defects. This is the first objective of the particular software. So finding the defect is nothing but the actual input and expected output, it should be matched. So expected and actual output should be matched, then it is called as a defect. If it is not going to find out, then there is no use of the testing. So main motto of testing is to find out the defect. As we have seen in the previous slide only, testing principle, testing shows the presence of defect. That is a first principle, and that will be the first objective of the software testing. So finding the defect is first objective of the software testings. Then second objective is gaining the confidence. If you find out so many defects or bugs from the systems, so that system is you can say that almost 100% defect free. So because of that, you may gain the confidence of the employees who are working on that particular project, and then afterwards it will be give you the good quality product which we can deliver to the customers. So confidence of the employees as well as the end user you can gain with the help of the defect free software. That will be the second objective. Third objective is to prevent the defects. To prevent the defect means defect should not be occurred in the system. If it is occurred, you need to apply the prevention techniques, means that is the testing techniques you need to apply and the prevent from the defect. That is, if defect is occur in the systems, you need to find out the solution for that particular defect. That will be the third objective. Fourth objective is that we need to make sure that whatever end result is going to come, it should be meet the all business as well as the user requirement. That is our main objective. So if it user requirements or business requirements are not going to you fulfill, that product is not useful. If the business requirements and user requirements are fulfilled 100%, then that particular software or application is useful for the particular end user. Like that, we can say that. That will be the next objective. Now, fifth objective is that it is going to ensure that it is going to satisfy the business requirement specification as well as the system requirement specification. It is related, this fifth objective is related to the fourth objective only. If requirements are satisfied, that means it is going to satisfy the business requirement specification document as well as SRS, that is system requirement specification documents, is going to ensure that we have fulfilled all requirement. It is going to say like that. Now, seventh objective is it is going to gain the confidence of the customers, which is going to provided by the at the end of the product whenever we are delivering to the particular customer. So because of the good, if you are delivered a good quality product, then the it will be increase confidence of the customers who will give the next project to you. That's why we require this. All 7 objectives should be satisfied whenever we are testing or delivering the any product. Any doubt in this software testing principle and software objective? Software testing objectives, students? Okay. Now, we'll see the next part, that is a functional and non-functional requirements. As I said that these functional and non-functional requirements are very important. For that, I have taught you the first or in second lecture itself, software development life cycle models. In that, I have explaining the all 6 type of model, which is I have explained you. These models are useful for the identifying the functional and non-functional requirement. In examination, question will be asked in previous topic. That will be a straightforward question. List out the principle of software testing in details. Directly straightforward question is there. Or list out the software testing objective. Like this question is asked. But on this functional and non-functional requirement, in the examination, question will be asked depending upon the application. Means, for example, you may say that the MIS application is there. Okay, MIS application which is we can use for our college. Maybe a student diary in the mobile app or web-based portal. That which is we are going to use. So this application is given. List out the functional and non-functional requirements of the MIS system application. So like this question is going to design. For that, how we are going to write down the answers, that I'm going to tell you here. For that, you need to know the which type of software development model is used. Means in that 2 types of questions are there. A particular application is given. that application can be implemented in which type of software development model? That will be the first question, half question. And second half question is list out functional and non-functional requirement. This is the second half question. Means these two questions are combined together. So first of all, I will explain what do you mean by functional and non-functional requirement. Then we will see the functional and non-functional requirement of the software uh, for particular application. 1 minute, student. Hello. So first of all, we will see the functional requirement. What do you mean by functional requirement and non-functional requirement? Then we will see the applications. Okay. Now, first thing is functional requirement. So functional requirement of any system is nothing but the systems, that particular system and its component. It is going to describe that particular software performance. But how we can calculate the performance of the systems? It will be calculated in terms of that particular software, what input you are going to apply, what is the behavior whenever you are applying the particular input, and what will be the expected output. That is nothing but the functional requirement. In functional requirement, mainly it is going to calculate the performance, then data manipulation, business process, user interaction, or any other specific functionality which is we have defined in the systems, it is going to check. So as we know that the functional requirement of particular software is going to capture the behavior of your systems in terms of the how and where or which functionality it is going to provide it, which type of services it is providing, and tasks which is we can perform. Now we can see the example here. First of all, input which is we are going to provide to the systems. Here block is not visible, that's why I'm drawing here. That is given to the system behavior and it is going to generate the output for you. For example, we will see the simple example MIS software which is we can use in our college. So for this system behavior is nothing but the MIS system software where you are giving the input. What student input is giving? Username and password. This is given. So if username password is correct, so system is going to allow you to sorry enter into the systems, and according to that which tab you have choose, according to that output is displayed on the screen. If your username and password, these two things are not correct, out of that one thing is wrong, or you may not put the correct captcha, because of that the system give you the your username and password is not correct. That is nothing but the system behavior, and it is going to produce the output according to that. So we can say that that is the one of the functionality which is provided in the systems. So services, that is in terms of the functionality, username and password, this is one of the functionality of the MIS software. For example, functional requirement in terms of the services. So what is the use of MIS software? It is going to maintain the all students data, student related data, that is personal as well as educational performance is going to maintain in the systems. That is a services. This service is going to provided for the educational institute. This is called as the services for the functional requirement, and task is nothing but the what you need to do. For example, simply you can say that the if your teacher guardian is saying that the student please do the course registration in EMIS, so that is a task assigned by the particular subject teacher or the class teacher or teacher guardian. Then you are going to do the try to do the course registration. Some students are getting the error, your course registration is tab is not activated because of some internal error, or they have blocked because of the some certain conditions, or maybe they have not promoted to the next semester, so that they are not able to do the course registration of the next semester. This will be the task. So these are the nothing but the functional requirements. So for the particular systems like this, you can list out the various function services or tasks which is we need to perform in terms of the functional requirement. Now, what are the adamant examples of the functional requirement that we will see? So first example, functional requirements, you can say that the particular software automatically validate the customers against the particular contact management systems. For that, best example is that username and password of the any systems. If you have once registered for that particular systems, you can log in into system immediately. It is going to allow you. Or if you are forgot your password, or you have put the incorrect username or password, it is going to show you error, your username and password is not correct. So that is nothing but the automatically validate the customers against the particular management systems. This is first example. Second example is sales systems, where sales system should be allow user to record their customer sales. Means, for example, you can consider Amazon is a Amazon is online buying and selling product web portal, where we can purchase the so many items every day. So the Amazon is going to provide the prime customer, those who are purchasing the all their items once in a week or every day. For that, they have providing this special facility or concession. So how they are going to identify this? They are going to maintain the each and every user's log or records are going to maintain, and because of that it is possible. This is a best example of sales systems, that is a functional requirement. Or even for that best example, which is we can see that, for example, you want to buy a online mobile and you are going through the so many web portals to see the different mobiles and doing the comparison. You may get the recommendation systems. For example, you may say that day I want to purchase the mobile phone from 10,000 to 15,000. So a system is giving the so many uh, options for you, that in between 10 to 15,000. These are the recommended mobile for you. Like this. This is a another sales systems which give you your functional requirement. Now, third functional requirement is that whenever we are using any applications on the any operating systems, always that particular system is going, we need to set the by default background color is there. So for example, background color for the all Windows application will be a blue, and it is having the hexadecimal value. As we know that the basic colors RGB, that is red, green and blue, these are the basic colors. From that we can generate any type of the color. So it is possible. So this is a one of the functional requirement. Another functional requirement example is managerial level employees have the right to view the revenue. Again, we will see the one example of Amazon, for example. In Amazon portal, that particular manager is there. He want to see the how many sales is going to have happen in the every day in a particular city. For example, Pune, Bombay, like that. So only that managerial people, managers, then that particular area, or you can say that a city head is going to look into that particular records and see how much revenue is going to generate it, or how much product is buy on this our portal. That information can be seen by only the higher authority. Managerial level employee is nothing but the higher authority of employee, they can see. That is again functional requirement. Or you may say that the, for example, in case of banking sector, you may say a particular XYZ bank is there. There are so many employees are there. Bank manager to the clerk up to clerk. So clerk cannot see the how much amount is there in the bank, but manager or branch head is going to see how much amount is deposited today in the bank or how much amount is withdrawal from the bank in terms of the cash or check. That all logs is can be visible by the managerial level people, that they are having that rights. This will be the best example. Now, next example is software system should be integrated with the banking API. For example, if you want to buy the online product from the Amazon, so in that they have integrated the banking API portal. Whenever you are going to buy and put it the particular item into the cart, so after that immediately if you say that I want to buy this, it will go to the that banking portal and you need to put your information. Then online you can easily buy that particular product. So that is a software system should be integrated, that in terms in the bank with the help of the banking API. This is the best example of the functional requirement. Now last but not least, the software system should pass the section 508, that is accessibility requirement. This is a uh, section where the what should be what content should be accessed from the particular software, that will be defined in this under these sections. So for that you need to maintain the integrity, that authority is given for the higher authority of the particular website only. Means as we know that the how much sale is going to happen in the particular product or electronic gadget, we want to find out city wise or area wise. That authority is given to the that particular systems authority only. That is a section 508 accessibility requirement, that is comes under a functional requirement. That authority is given to the higher authority only, not all. Now what are the advantages of the functional requirement, which is we can see here. So first of all, the functional requirement helps to check whether the particular application which is we have used, that is having the all functionality. So it is going to fulfill the all functional requirement. This will be the first things, that is advantages. Functional requirement document help us to define the functionality of systems, means what are the features or characteristics which is going to provided by systems. Like as we are saying that the MIS software is used for the mainly maintaining the all records of students attendance examinations, all details it is going to maintain. If you consider the online library systems, it is going to maintain the all books issue and the return data, like that. Then next advantage is that functional requirements is useful for analyzing the missing requirements. It is useful for the identifying the missing requirements of the systems. It is useful for the check the system behavior. For that purposes it is used. So that will be the next advantages. With the help of the functional requirement, it is easy to spot the errors, and if these functional requirements are gathered in the earlier stage, it is become a chips. Otherwise, chip. Otherwise, it becomes a costly to fix the caught error. Now, next advantage is it is going to support user goal, task and activities easily in the project management systems if functional requirements are clearly specified by the end user. Now, uh, these are the advantages of the functional requirements. Now, next one is what do you mean by the non-functional requirement? Opposite of functional requirement, non-functional requirements are also important in the software development life cycle. In non-functional requirement, it is going to define the quality attributes of the software system. Mainly, it is used for the judging these particular operations which is we can perform on the system. For example, how fast the website is going to load it. What will be the performance of the website? Means how much time is required for the um, responding to that particular website. That is nothing but a non-functional requirement. You can say that the user interface is the best example of non-functional requirement. Now, as we have seen that the non-functional requirement is going to ensure the usability and effectiveness of the entire software, and it comes under the non-functional requirement. If this effectiveness and usability is going to fail, you cannot meet the non-functional requirement, and it is going to result this system is going to fail, and it is not going to satisfy the end user needs. So non-functional requirement is having the important role in the software development life cycle. In non-functional requirement, it is going to allow to impose the constraint or restrictions which is we can design on the systems. Mainly, for example, you may say that the particular system is required 3 seconds to display the output on the screen. So that may be a, you can say that it is going to describe the non-functional requirement, just critical application functionality requirement. In that case, it is required. So next one is, if you say that the what is the main difference between the functional and non-functional requirements are there, you can say that the functional requirements are mainly deal with the product features. It is going to consider the product features, and functional requirement consider the user requirement and product feature. But non-functional requirements are going to consider first product properties and user expectation. These are the two comes under the non-functional requirement. So we will see first the examples of non-functional requirement, then I will explain you what is the difference between the functional and non-functional requirement. So first example of non-functional requirement is that whenever you are assigning the some tasks or some softwares are going to deliver to the systems simply. For example, you have entered into the college first time in the first year or a second year itself. That time your Risoni email ID is created, and teachers are said that day after creating these are the your Risoni email ID and passwords are there. After first time login, you need to change your username and password of MIS as well as the Risoni login. So why they are saying that that is a non-functional requirement, but you need to change. Why? Because if you use that as it is, and some maybe misuse your this username and password, it is going to record it uh, in front of your name itself, because it is saying that this is your username and password. We have delivered you your username and password, and you have done these things. So always, whenever you are using this register into the particular sites, after registration immediately you need to change your login, that is a password first time, and then login successfully. This is a one of the non-functional requirement example. Second example is employees never allowed to update their salary information. In every organization, salary is always decided by the higher authority, and that will be delivered to the account or HR through the HR only. But that salary, how much salary that particular person is having, that information cannot be edited by that particular employee. It is never allowed. That is a non-functional requirement. So this authority should have only higher authority person. That is a HR or manager or higher authority of that particular organization. Now third example, every time unsuccessful attempt by user for the particular logging, it is going to recorded or audited on the trial basis. So on your systems, if you observe the cookies and the logs, in that you can see that how many times you have logged in which portal. That is, all these things are recorded. That is a example of non-functional requirement. Next example is website. A particular website is having the capability to handle the up to particular some certain millions of the user, and after sub millions is going to cross, it is going to affect its performance. For example, in MIS system, for example, if it is at a time only 100 user can be use that system. If more than 100 people start using that system is going to slow down. That means system performance is going to affecting. So that is a comes under the non-functional requirement. Now next example is software should be a portable. That is a non-functional requirement. Means if you are moving from the one operating system to the another operating system, it should not be a create a problem for you to use that particular software. So that particular software should be a portable. That is a non-functional requirement example. Now next example is privacy information. In non-functional requirement, privacy information should be maintained. So it should be exported and restricted to the particular technology window. And for that, intellectual property right should be a reserve or it should be audited. Means if you see the whenever you are logging into the MIS system, it is showing that the at the rate copyright is reserved 2021. Like that, it is going to mention. That is a non-functional requirement example. Now, what are the advantages of non-functional requirement, which is we can see here. Here, the non-functional requirements ensure that the software system follow the legal and compliance rule. All legal rule is going to follow by the system, that is comes under the non-functional requirement, which is I have mentioned that the 580 that under 580 sections the functional requirements are specified. Even non-functional also requirements are specified under this section. That is section is nothing but the rules which is defined for the using that particular software. Now next advantage is that non-functional requirement make sure that the reliability, availability and performance of the system software. This will be the second advantage. Third advantage is it ensure that a good user experience should be given with the easily use of the particular operating the software. That is a main functionality of the non-functional requirement. Non-functional requirement last advantage is that it is going to help in formulating the security policy of the system software. Means what particular things are there which is critical or which should be used by the particular user only. Means higher authority is having the higher, you can say that they are having the highest roles and responsibilities to use that particular software. They can see each and everything, but lower level employees cannot see each and everything. They are having the restricted things. That is nothing but the security policies which will be defined for the system. These are the advantages. Any doubt in the functional and non-functional requirement and its example, students? Any doubt? Student, please answer me. All are sleeping? Okay, no doubt. Okay.
No doubt.
Okay. Okay, next we will see the what is the difference between functional and non-functional requirement, which is represented in terms of these tables, where we can see the functional and non-functional requirement. Sorry, functional and non-functional requirements are given. First parameter is what is, means functional requirement represent verb and non-functional requirement represent the attributes. What are the attributes are there? Then second difference is functional requirements is mandatory in the particular project, but non-functional requirements are not mandatory in the systems. Means functional requirement, for example, if you say that MIS systems, for that you need a username and password, then only you can enter in those systems and access the data. But in terms of the functional requirement. But in terms of the non-functional requirement, you may say that the if you want to change the background of your login, that is a your non-functional requirement. Okay, background of your systems. Now third one is capturing type. Here in functional requirement, it is going to capture the use cases. What will be the uses of the systems it is going to capture. But in non-functional requirement, it is going to capture the quality of attributes. And in functional requirement, you can get the product features. As I explained you, functional requirements are mainly deal with the product. What are the different features which is provided by the systems. And in non-functional requirement, product properties are going to define. So in the functional requirement, it is easy to capture the all features of the functional requirement. But in non-functional requirement, to capture the properties of the non-functional requirement is very difficult. Main objective of functional requirement is it is going to help you to verify the functionality of the software. But in non-functional requirement, it is going to verify the performance of the systems, and you cannot measure the performance of the systems in terms of the percentage in case of non-functional requirement. Then in functional requirement, it is mainly focused on the user requirement, and in non-functional requirement, it is going to mainly concentrate on the user expectation. What is a user expectation? Means mainly user that particular software should be a user friendly. It should be easy to handle, like that. These are the attribute which is going to consider. In functional requirement, which is going to describe about the product, what product is or does. But in non-functional requirement, it is going to describe how the product work. Then next difference is in functional requirement, functional testings like system testing, integration testing, end-to-end testing, API testing will be done. But in non-functional requirement, performance testing, stress testing, usability and security testing will be done. That all types of testings we will see in the second unit. All functional and non-functional types of the testing. Okay. Now, in functional requirement, test execution is done before the functional testings. And in non-functional requirement, after the functional testing, non-functional testing will be done. Mainly in functional requirement, product features are going to consider, and in non-functional requirement, product property is going to consider. Now, this is related to the difference between the functional and non-functional requirement. Now, students, for the TAE 1 topic, okay. Question is like this. This is one question, only one question just now I am going to tell you. Remaining two question I will tell you afterwards, after teaching that particular topic. First question is that these are the applications which is listed on the PPT. Out of that, you need to choose one application, and for example, here choose the MIS system for our college. And for that particular application, you need to write down the functional and non-functional requirement of that particular application. This is first things. This is first. Second, which software development model is useful for implementing these systems? You need to note down that model and why. For example, if I am saying that the MIS system of our college, for that I am going to use the waterfall model. Someone may say that I am going to use the incremental model, like that. For example, I have written that I want to use this for the waterfall model. I'm going to implement this MIS system using the waterfall model of software development lifecycle. Then why? Then in that case, I need to say that because in the waterfall model, requirements are clear for the developer as well as the testers, and product definition is clear. So I can easily implement or develop that particular software. That's why I am going to use the waterfall model. Another thing is that in the waterfall model, after completion of the previous stage, then only we can go for the next phase. That is another advantage. So that's why I'm going to use the MIS system. Then functional and non-functional requirement for the MIS system. Functional requirements are there. For example, for the higher authority like MIS in charge, HOD, teacher, they are having the highest authority as well as the you can say that the number of models they can easily view and see as compared to the students. So they have distinct with the types of the user and functionality which is going to provide it. Features, product features. Okay, that you need to mention comes under the functional requirement. In non-functional requirement, you may consider that the background of the systems, or you may consider the attributes which is we have considered there in the student information tab. If you are not entered your uh, personal email ID, only college email ID you have mentioned, or you have entered the permanent address and local address is not entered, or although you are not uploaded the photo, still hall ticket is generated. Like this, these comes under the non-functional requirement. Like this, you need to write down the answers. So once all these four topics are going to complete it, that is how to write down the test cases and test plan. Then your TAE 1 is going to complete it. That task I will give you afterwards. But for that, you need to know the these answers. That's why I'm telling. Okay, and in examinations from this onwards, these applications, 6 applications you need to remember. Related to that, we will cover the topics. Because if you want to write down the test cases, out of this, anyone is maybe going to come in the examination, how to write down the test cases. For that, I will explain you test case template and how to write down the test cases. Test plan, IEEE test plan, defect report, test case report, all these things all related to this applications only I'm going to explain, and according to that in examination uh, questions are coming. Any doubt, students? No doubt. Okay, today I will share the Google Classroom code.